Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Joe the Juggernaut, back with another video today, and I'm going to be talking about enlisting in the National Guard at 39 years old. Let's go. Before we get started, I just wanted to say the opinions expressed in this video are of me and mine alone. They are not representative of the Department of Defense, the U.S. Army National Guard, or any other military or federal agency whatsoever. So if you're just joining me, my previous video I'll talk about how I was in the process of joining the Navy Reserve and how I got disqualified. In that video, I talk a little bit about some of the Reddit feeds that I follow about the military. One of those was New to the Navy. In the New to the Navy thread, they talk a lot about enlistment best practices. There's a lot of fact checking on what recruiters are asking people to do. Just really good, solid information. And I've been a pretty involved contributor in that community for a few months, because the process of joining the military did take me quite a bit of months. So once I got officially disqualified from the Navy, I posted somewhat of a farewell message, if you will. So I was just talking about, hey, I got disqualified, here's what I got disqualified for. Really was just kind of educate anybody else out there on that particular disqualifying condition, create some awareness. Hopefully nobody else has to go through the same process as I did. But anyways, once I posted on there, somebody responded to my post and said, hey, you should try the Army. And I said, yeah, nice try, but the Army ages out at 35. So at 39 years old, there's no way I'm gonna be able to enlist. They actually responded back and said, hey, I just had somebody I know go through the process with the Army at 37. They're currently doing age waivers. You should go check it out. So I appreciated them for the advice, and I went to the Army National Guard website, which is where I was actually looking to enlist at originally a few years ago. I gave the 1-800 number a call, talked to the lady on the phone, which is kind of like a pre-screener, gave some general information, and when she asked, how old are you? I said 39, and she said, okay, well, the enlistment age is 35. And I said, oh, I guess then I'm not eligible then, right? And she says, no, not so fast. Let's get your number and contact information over to a recruiter. I'm going to give you your recruiter's information just to see that you could be potentially eligible for an age waiver. I said, awesome. So she sends me an email and a text message with my local recruiter's information. And so I sent a quick text message to that recruiter. I wanted to be very upfront. I didn't want to waste their time. And as I mentioned in previous videos, some recruiters are willing to put in a lot of effort to get somebody enlisted. Other recruiters, when they have a lot of hurdles to jump through, like for me, they kind of just say, hey, I'm not interested, right? So I sent him a text message and I said, hey, this is so-and-so. Here's the, here's the 411, right? So 39 years old. I've had ACL reconstruction. I've got 4 dependents. Here's the positive, right? So I got an associate's degree. I've already taken my ASVAB. I got a 96. This is what's going on. Can you work with that, right? Recruiter responded right back and said, hey, yes, I can definitely work with that. Let's schedule some time to discuss. So what this form is intended to do is get all my information transferred over from the previous branch that I was trying to enlist with to the current branch. Now, the good thing was that a lot of my information did transfer over, so I didn't have to provide that huge packet that I talked about in my last video about background information, contacts, where I had been living for X amount of years, all that good stuff. Really what I had to do is some of the documents that just expired. During this visit, the recruiter also checked my height and weight just to make sure that I qualify. As I mentioned previously, at 280 pounds, I don't make the weight requirement for the military, but I do pass tape tests. And so once that was all said and done, the recruiter gave me a call in a few days and said, hey, we got all your information squared away. We've got everything transferred over. Let's get you scheduled for MEPS. And so I did have to go to MEPS, which is the Military Entrance Processing Station, to do my medical screening. So I did all my medical screening, everything passed great, with the exception of my knee. So the Army required, even though I had the complex pre-screen, which I talked about in my previous video, done, everything was checked, the Army wanted me to see their independent orthopedist. And so I ended up going to their doctor. He evaluated my knee, everything looked great, got that information over back to MEPS. That took about 30 days for that consult to go through. just approving me for service. And then my recruiter contacted me probably in about, I think it was about 30 days, 32 days, 34, somewhere around there, to let me know, hey, everything's good to go, we can get you in. Now, about 2 weeks prior to getting the okay, my recruiter reached out and let me know that what jobs I was going to be eligible for. So I scored really well in my ASVAB, but I had a few conditions that were working against me. Number one, I'm colorblind, so that does exclude you from certain jobs. Number two, because of my height and weight, and the program that I was enlisting in, which is the arms program, I would not be able to pick an MOS, which is a job that was sedentary. So something where I was just kind of sitting down, like something like finance or HR type job, or even intelligence, unfortunately, just because you're kind of sitting at a desk. That's not something that I was eligible for at the time. Any job that I was going to pick would have to be something that I'm on my feet, moving around. So from the list that the recruiter gave me, I said, hey, these are my top choices. So one of the top jobs that I was looking for was a 68 Whiskey, which is a combat medic. It's something that it was actually the exact same MOS that I was looking to get into in the Navy. They call theirs a hospital corpsman, but generally you get EMT certified and you're a healthcare specialist, again, with your EMT certification. I've always thought that MOS was pretty awesome. My undergrad is currently in kinesiology, with a pursuit in something in the medical field. But so I let him know, and so he did text me back maybe a day or two later and said, hey, a 68 Whiskey spot opened up, but it's in Dallas. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not necessarily looking to travel up there, or El Paso if I'm not mistaken. So not interested in driving there 1 week in a month. And yeah, no. And so he said, okay, cool. Just want to throw it out there just in case you were interested. And then it was maybe about a week later, I also get the notification that my knee waiver, or excuse me, the consult was approved, and so I was good to go to sign. And then my recruiter also let me know, like, hey, I locked you in a 68 Whiskey spot here in San Antonio, which is awesome. So a couple days went by, and recruiters just trying to get me set up with an appointment with MEPS to get sworn in. He did let me know that unfortunately MEPS in San Antonio was booked. Once all my paperwork is done, he's like, they're booked. We're not going to be able to get you in, but I'm going to try and see if we can get you a remote enlistment. So this is something that's possible, but I believe a new regulation passed not too long ago. Don't quote me on it. It will change this. But for me, it was a possibility. I did a remote enlistment out of the El Paso office. So I did show up at the recruiter's office. There's one other person with me to swear in. And so we got set up in the recruiter's office. They pretty much printed all the documentation out that was completed at the El Paso MEPS, and I signed the entire packet. So I'm looking at my contract, again, how many years I'm gonna serve, what job, when I go to basic, when I go to AIT, all that good stuff, what I'm eligible for. So I actually took the student loan repayment instead of the enlistment bonus, and just food for thought for anybody out there. If you ever plan on enlisting and then at some point going to OCS or trying to become an officer within your first contract, I strongly discourage you from taking the bonus. The primary reason is that bonus is prorated. So let's just say they're giving you $10,000 for 6 years of service. If you actually commission and become an officer within 2 years, you might have to pay some of that money back. You don't get it all at one time, but let's just say they give you 4 years worth of money, so to speak, and you leave after 2, you're gonna have to pay some of that money back. And so I do plan on going to OCS after I'm done with basic and AIT. And so for me, it didn't make sense to do that. So I took the student loan repayment, which I'm eligible for up to $50,000 if I'm not mistaken. I only have about $10,000 in student loans right now. And so I'm just getting that paid back until everything's said and done. And I start pursuing OCS. At that point, I can ask for student loan repayment again. Just food for thought. So filled out my entire packet, got everything signed, and then they scan all those documents and send them right back to the El Paso MEPS, where the MEPS officer there signs off. So once they were signed off, they actually had a first lieutenant in the office with us. I was kind of waiting the entire time. He swore us in. It's the picture that you see on my introduction, but I'll flash it right here on the screen. And got sworn in, and so I've been a member of the National Guard again for since April. during this time, since April that I've been in the National Guard, I drill every week, every month. It's called RSP, which is Recruit Sustainment Program. Tons of stuff that we do. I know I've seen again on some of the Reddit feeds that RSP is a joke. To a certain extent, I would say there are some things that could be improved, but I did find a lot of value in RSP. I think if you go in with an open mindset, especially as an older recruit, on the things that you can learn, what to do, what not to do, you'll learn a lot and you'll feel much better prepared for basic combat training. But if you have questions on that, or you'd like me to make a video on RSP, so drilling before you ship out to basic training in the National Guard, let me know. Drop it down in the comments below and I'd be more than happy to respond. So appreciate it. Hope you found some value out of this video. It's a pretty straightforward process, even at my age at 39. One thing I guess I did neglect to mention was the age waiver. And so again, once all my medical was cleared, we did have to wait about a week or so for the age waiver to clear, and that was the only thing, right? And so I think if you're looking to join at an older age, knowing that the Army has a cutoff of 35, I was able to qualify with all my conditions. Again, ACL reconstruction, I had a moral waiver that we had to do. You know, if I can do it, it's possible for you as well. In general, you know, again, at my age of 39, I was able to get a waiver, no problem. I've heard as old as 42 typically isn't difficult to get a waiver for. I think somewhere between 41 and 42. There's a few more hoops to jump through, but it's possible. So again, if you got any questions, leave them down below. Please like the video, you know, help me out, get some subscribers out there, subscribe, hit the notification icon so that you can get an update on the next video, because I do plan on posting a lot more military content. So again, I appreciate y'all and have a great day.